Okay, so for today's 3D modeling challenge, we are going to be making um a dog bone. Okay, alrighty, that seems pretty simple. Okay, let's go ahead and start that dog bone. So when I'm approaching this, I'm thinking of a couple things. Number one, I have a dog, so I'm maybe thinking of making one of his dog bones. Maybe I make just the classic, sort of like this shape. Um, that could be fun. Or maybe I make like something like this. That could also be fun. In fact, why don't I? These are both like this guy, for example, and this guy are both super simple shapes. So I'm thinking it could be cool to do both of them, maybe. Maybe. Why don't we start by making something like this? Yeah. All right. Let's get to it then. Oh, that's wrong. Daily study. Make a new collection. We'll call this dog bone. And we'll hide our thumbnail branding stuff. Okay, cool. So for this dog bone, why don't we start off with trying to think of the best way to approach this one. I think start off with a plane. G. Um, okay. Now we want to make it about twice as big that way. And then we'll make a loop cut here. Extrude this along the X by 1. Extrude along the X by 1 as well. Same goes here. And you too. Okay, and then I think we should add, maybe we'll start off with the subdivision surface modifier and see where that gets us. So maybe if we scale this along the Y, X, Y, oh, what's our origin set to? Individual origins, no. Bounding, development, sure. No. Bounding box 9. Okay, there we go. So that's a bit closer to what we want, but I think first we should do a little bit like that. And then scale these down on the Y. All right, that looks much better. And then, do you think even more definition maybe? What do we like 0.75? 0.75, oop, negative 0.75. It's a little bit off from the last one though, so I think it should be about there. Okay, so it's a good silhouette. So why don't we add a solidify modifier and just give it some thickness. I don't want it to come up. No, it can go down. So we'll give it some thickness. Um, that looks about right. Now let's add another bevel, or let's add a bevel and give it some chunkiness. Okay, I'm wondering what's up with the geometry that it's doing that, because I don't love that effect. Um, oh, it looks like it maybe just wants some distance between these two vertices. Let's go ahead and turn the measuring tool off. Oops. So we'll select these verts, scale them away from each other. Oh, grab you along the Y, grab you along the Why don't you move like one and a half of these little boxes over? Okay, that seems about good to me. I just want to get rid of that artifacting in the center there. This like sort of nub is fine with me, but then we'll add another subdivision surface. And to me, that is a dog bone. Maybe we can up the amount, make it a bit rounder. Okay, perfect. Awesome. So we'll also go ahead and say object, and we want to shade that smooth. Cool. So what time are we at? All right, that's 5 minutes in. So let's think about how we want to stage our dog bone. Because maybe we want, oh, that could be fun. That could be fun. So my thought is we're going to use this dog bone, call it bone. And I don't think I'm going to do the idea of making both of these, but we're going to use this dog bone as a particle, and we're going to emit some particles. Here, I'll annotate something. So we're going to use this as a particle. We're going to have like a particle emission here, and it's going to emit dog bones down here, and we're going to have a little dog bowl down here. Um, I think that'll be good. Cool. And let's just clear our annotations. So we can hide that guy for now. Start with a cylinder for the dog bowl. And 32 seems about fine to me. And I'll bring it right there. Now, finding feature of a dog bowl is that this bottom is like wider than the top. And then we want to inset this a bit and extrude it down. Why? That looks about good to me. Actually, maybe this is a bit too wide. Okay, that looks good to me now. And then we'll add a bevel. Okay, that already looks better. Object. Shade smooth. And the last thing I want to do maybe is add a text. Maybe it'll read like the name of a dog. Why don't we do dog name generator? Sure. My dog's name. What do we do? Like a funny, classic, a funny name. Find a name. I like Beaker. Sure. So we'll add some text. Tab, say Beaker. And then we can convert to mesh. Okay. Now what I want to do is add a shrink wrap modifier. Where is that? Deform? Yes. Shrink wrap to the bowl. And what we can do is get this, and it's a little askew right now. All right. Okay. Maybe we start off by moving it up along the Z. Rotate it by 180 degrees along the Y. That's not what we want. Why don't you look how I want you to look? Do project maybe on surface. Okay, yeah. I think this is what we want. Our X 90, our Z 180. Okay, and then we can scale it down And then we can like, you know, bring it down this way. It's about centered, I think. Let's bring it to the front. Yeah, that looks good. Bring it down. And then from the top, we'll just bring it in on the Y until it's like projecting all the way. And we'll let it take a subdivision. Face cull, no. X-axis, Z-axis. Limit. What does this do? Bink. Okay, wait. Predict snap mode. Outside, maybe? Turn limit off. So I think the solution here is going to be to give both of these some scale. So I think the issue is that it's trying to snap to the inside of the bowl too hastily. Or even what we can do is select, no, do verts. So we'll select all these vertices, and we'll select all these. And all we'll do is we'll make the inside of our dog bowl thicker so that our shrink wrap modifier has like more to work with. They can more fully apply, just like that. Beaker. Okay, cool. Now let's add a solidify and see. Oh, that looks just disgusting. Okay, awesome. Maybe even thickness, maybe no fill, maybe rim, normals, flip, high quality. Nope. Okay. Maybe if we extrude this before the shrink wrap. More. More. Okay. Well, I think we can fix this with proportional editing. We'll just grab it like that. Move it down like that. Down a bit more even. Same thing over here. Oh, and then the whole of these faces can be moved back. Beaker. Okay, that's a little scuffed. Maybe if we add subdivision? No. Perhaps better would be to add a remesh with smaller voxels, smaller. Beaker, smaller. This is just horrible topology. What happened? Blender, why'd you do this to me? Slide it along the Y, I guess. Make it a bit like flatter. Alright, make them smaller, even, maybe. Okay, then we can add like a subdiv, smooth things out a bit, perhaps. And then see if maybe shade smooth helps. Okay. It's going to take some work in the materials to make it look good as well, but I think this is good for now. 15 minutes, that's perfect. Okay. We'll go to shading, new material. Wow, for a bowl. And real quick, we'll just add some lighting. We'll add a sun. Um, maybe we want it like this way a bit. Have a look. I actually like this color background already because I think we're gonna do sort of that like simple tune shaded effect um, with a color ramp, with a shader to RGB, separate color, HSV, put the value in there, another separate, and a combine color. Just really have this set up as like a little hotkey or like some kind of shortcut for myself because it's the classic tune shader I build. If you're wondering, I got this from Comfy Mug um, because this one's much better than the classic shaded RGB color ramp with you know constant stops. Because with this one, what you can do is because you're only affecting the value, you're basically just tuning in the shadows of your mesh. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to have firmer. It allows you to have the color of the light still impact the what's it called? And we'll fix the shadows. Shadow mode of hashed, maybe of a clip, just a real quick render. Anyways, but yeah, the color of the light will impact the color of your mesh still. So see if I make it red, you can see that it turns red. You have to change the color stops a bit here because it like come on, it still sensitive to that, but you can see it has like a red tint to it. So do all that. But yeah, let me render this out really quickly just to see if this sort of like weird shadow like banding almost is an artifact of low samples or if I need to change some settings in my samples and stuff like that. And it looks like that one had some banding as well. It wasn't the camera angle I wanted, but that's fine. Anyways, let's make the color. Why don't we make this like a purple dog bowl? And you can see how I was able to change the color over here and all the light just sort of immediately snapped into place. Or perhaps it's an artifact of our bevel modifier. Maybe it wants a subsurf. That looks much better. Okay, awesome. Wait, let's check. Okay, that looks good. Move it down to 0 because this is a lot of mesh, to be honest. Make you also 0. Yeah, visible in viewport, no. So now we have fewer verts, that our computer has to deal with. For your material, why don't we go back here, call it dog bowl. And then we'll start with dog bowl, but duplicate it. And how we want this is why don't we make it just like what's a nice accent to maybe green, it's a little corporate, maybe a nice light blue. Yeah. Beaker. Okay. For our lighting, I know we'll also want nice area light. Bring it over here. Rotate it this way, that way. For intensity, let's turn it up. Actually, wait, why don't we make it more general? And it'll be able to shine on the particle system as well. But we'll give it like a purple hue. And then we'll duplicate this around on the side a bit and give it a bit like that. this, we'll do camera to view. So the reason I changed the light colors like that is because number one, color theory, complementary colors. And then number two, um, that's just sort of a classic light pattern. I don't know what it's called. I'm making this up as I go, but yeah. All right, and then we'll add a plane. Oh, and why don't we texture our bone real quick? Solo on that. Oh, unsolo, select the bone, solo on the bone. Dog bowl. Again, we'll duplicate that. This time, I think we want it to be, what is it? A nice brown. Desaturated a bit. Are you anywhere near the lighting in the system? Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, so let's preset the location. For the rest of the scene, what do we need to add a plane? And yeah, that's good enough for my eyes. But then we'll add another plane. And we'll make this a new particle system. You're an emitter. How do we do a custom object? Pupil display, children, field weights, field physical setting, custom properties. How to make particle system emit custom object Blender. You don't want hair. Interpolated, change the distribution, rotation, size, multiple objects, render as, okay. Render as object. And for the object, we want the bone. Okay, so awesome. That's already about how we want it. And here we'll just tune the okay. So then we'll want the velocity. We'll want to crank that up. All right. Our 180 degrees on the X. 80. Okay, you know what? I'll add a constraint. I know. We reset the rotation. Get it along the Y. Along the Z. Okay, and then for the emitter, we'll go ahead and have the physics We also want way fewer. Like, I'm trying to... Okay, awesome. Um, and then we'll make this. Is there any way to make it? Okay, so what we'll do with our bone is make it a rigid body, active. Make you a rigid body of type passive. How to make particles of collision. Blender. Particle system collision with itself and other objects. Perfect. Okay. Actually, you know what? Okay, these shadows are disgusting. So I'm also unhappy with this color. So here, we're gonna scrap the complementary colors, lighting. We're just gonna add a nice area light on the front here, and maybe we make our sun like a less, maybe even a more drastic angle could be good. And you should not cast any shadow. Shadow mode, none. Into Beaker's bowl. Perfect. And why don't we... I'm actually much happier with this lighting. Shine it on Beaker's name tag, and we'll make it a darker blue, or maybe just a more saturated blue. Okay, that's better. And then for this plane, I think we want it to be... Well, okay, well actually number one, let's make the world a bit less intense. Oh no, actually. Bring it back. The lighting was useful. But I'm not happy with it. So why don't we, here, do a classic backdrop. Bevel this edge. For you, add a subdiv with like 3 divisions, yeah. Except we want it to have object, get out of object, get an object node, make it shade smooth, and then where's this light coming from? That's coming from that. You just make it larger, make it nice, softer shadows. And then for this, we can make it just a diffuse ESDF. Looks good. Instead of white, however, why do we tune it to, what are we thinking? Yellow, orange, what colors do we have? We have purple, blue, so I think we have orange. So yeah, this is a nice desaturated it just enough. And I'm very happy with this. So we'll go into shading. How much time do we have? 13 seconds. Awesome. So I guess with that, we will just go into the frame that we want to render on. Actually, it's time. So, pretty much the only final step, I guess, is we want to say that we want it to be rendered on the, I guess, 20-second frame. So, frame start 1 and step 22, render image, and we'll see how that went. Okay, so the physics sim hadn't started, or the particle system hadn't started yet, so let's go into the particle settings really quickly. I guess it'll just take a moment. Cache step, calculate to frame, and then we'll bake that in. I think maybe that'll do it. Perfect. Okay. And that is dog bones tumbling in to a dog bowl. The aim is a little off, so I might turn the velocity up just a bit, but it's a very minor adjustment. But that is the dog bone challenge done with. Thanks for watching.